We are ready. With that, we'll call our meeting to order. And are there any additions or deletions for the agenda tonight? If not, we entertain a motion to accept it as presented.
So moved.
So sorry.
Have a motion support. Last chance for comments, questions, or changes. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. We have an agenda. Roll call is completed. Is that correct? Okay, roll call is done. Next, we pledge of allegiance. If everyone would please rise and join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much.
A rule that city employees have to sit in the room.
I don't think there is. If it was, Les would have to move it. Okay, next up, we'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the July 22nd, 2025 regular meeting of this board.
Move approval.
Support.
A motion and support. Are there any comments, questions, additions, deletions? I'm hearing none. All those in favor of approving, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, say no. Motion is carried. Moving to request for purchase. First up, we are to consider a resolution to approve a request for purchase to Todd Winslow Chevrolet in the amount of $49,946, which is for the purchase of a 2025 Ford all-wheel drive Explorer Police Interceptor. Sounds fancy.
Move approval.
Support.
Have motion support. Any comments or questions?
Well, this is just our first new vehicle in 2 years. The last one was the top. So these are cheaper and a little bit more economical to run. So
We like that.
yeah.
Anybody else? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no? No, motion's carried. Thank you. Next, consideration of a resolution to approve a request for purchase to Crouch Communications in the amount of $17,465.20 for the police equipment upfit of the new 2025 Ford Police Interceptor Road Patrol vehicle. Your pleasure.
Move approval. Support.
We have a motion and support. Comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried. Next, consideration of a resolution to approve a request for purchase to Maverick Environmental Equipment in the amount of $33,250 for rental of a tub grinder, a track loader with a wood splitter attachment, which will be used to eliminate a large wood pile that has accumulated for 15 to 20 years at the Department of Public Works. Your pleasure.
Move approval.
Support.
I have a motion and support. You got a story to tell?
Well,
I mean, 15 years we've been waiting for this to happen.
Do we have a different plan that didn't work? or-
No, it's just that they accumulate and they start. You take down
15 years,
trees.
doesn't it just rot down to nothing?
Not when they're trees like this big. They're taking down limbs this big. They cut them down as best they can and then move them out there, and it's been sitting. So they'd like to, obviously, we need the room now because it's too much to start chipping away at it and get it.
This isn't a wood chip pile, is it? It's over by the dirt pile?
Well, some of that would be for that and other.
It creates the-
It'll create the chip, yeah.
And there's some of it that gets rolled into our.
Right. But this is for bigger trees.
These are for the ones that don't compost. These are for the trunks, gigantic tree
Yeah.
trunks, the root balls, that type of thing. They
Should have
chip those down.
Should have had the guys get you some photos because.
That's okay. That's okay.
To the big ones. I have more, I'm always dealing with trees, folks. Really.
Turns out they're expensive, aren't they?
They do require maintenance.
Yes. Hey, anybody else have questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. The motion is carried. Thank you. Number 4, consideration of a resolution to approve a request for purchase to Maverick Environmental Equipment in the amount of $18,300 for the rental of a trommel to screen the compost piles.
I'll move approval, whatever it is.
I'll see more and hear more about it. Motion support? Describe, please.
This screener is much larger. We can dump a lot more, get through a lot more soil to get it ready for use than we used to have one ourselves, but it was all day, every day, trying to get compost ready. All right, Dave, just prove me wrong.
Here come the man.
The one that we have is very small, but it takes a long time to screen it. It's way too much man hours to do this, and you don't get much to say for it by the time you're done with it for a week. With this thing, by the time they get done screening it, we can do what would take us 3 months in about less than a few days with this. So if anybody's familiar with Gold Rush TV show, same thing, you put the compost in there, screens it, gives you the compost, it's ready to give out to the public. Takes the bigger materials out, and we just recycle that, put that back into the compost piles and get broken back down over time. Speeds that process up dramatically.
And it's cheaper to rent it as opposed to...
Very much than to buy it. We explored this back 15 years ago, look at buying it, but by the time you buy it, use it, maintenance that goes with it, it's cheaper to rent it as we need for both.
It's been 2 years since we've done it, 3 years?
All of 3, we usually go 3 to 5 before we rent the Trumbull.
Just have we ever considered bagging it and selling this stuff? I mean, everybody says it's really high quality. I don't know if it's,
We consider if we could get people to commit to buying it. That's always the $1 million question, because the state of Michigan's talked to us about it. They talk to compost sites to do that. But if you, as soon as you start to sell what was free, the public's not really a fan of that. And if they don't come pick it up, we have to find someone to pay them to truck it to haul it off. So that's the problem if they don't buy enough of it. Because we can only have it on site for 2 years, and after that, we have to find somebody to take it. So as we put it out for free, we never have a problem getting rid of it.
I was thinking of like some commercial operation that, you know, the large big box stores or whatever buy pallets of this stuff.
We've explored that. Right now, the one that was the most recent in the last few years, they decided not to against trucking costs. By the time they truck it to where they're at to bag it, we were like 8 miles out of their comfort zone for driving. So always over that option. I know certain farmers in the area have taken it historically. We tried to work out if they want to take over on it and sell it, they're not interested in that because the costs that go into it. So, but it's the trucking costs. It's like gravel, it's like sand. It's free, but you got to haul it, and there's the costs into it.
I just wonder, I guess I've never noticed and read the label at the, you know, at the stores where you go and buy a bag, where it's coming from, but interesting. Okay, thank you. Anybody else have questions before Dave runs away? I don't see any, so I guess you're safe, Dave. Hey, I'm sorry, did you have something?
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, all right, sorry. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried, thank you. Moving, skipping on down to resolutions. We were to consider a resolution to ratify the investment of the following city funds. We have two, one for 125, one for 250,000 at 3.81 and 3.80. Your pleasure.
Move to adopt.
Support.
We have motion support. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next up, we're going to consider a resolution to proclaim Friday, October 31st as, was it Thanksgiving you wanted? Or Halloween? I guess it's Halloween in the city of Alma to set trick-or-treat hours between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m.
Move to adopt.
Support.
Okay, we have motion support. Any comments, questions, or anybody want to change it to Thanksgiving? Just to be different.
Really miserable.
Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Thank you. Excuse me. Now, reports of officers, boards, and committees. Commissioners may receive the following reports by one resolution, or any commissioner may remove any of the items in the section for individual discussion and vote. Before us tonight, we have the July 2023, or July 23rd, 2025 Alma District Fire Board meeting minutes, draft meeting minutes, pardon me. The July 23rd, 2025 Downtown Development Authority draft meeting minutes. The July 28th, 2025 Parks Committee draft meeting minutes. The July Board of Review meeting minutes. The Alma Police Department July 2025 report. The Alma Transit July 2025 report. The DWSRF construction progress for July. The Finance July 2025 report, and the City Manager's newsletter.
Move to receive 1 through 8.
Move to pull 3.
Can we also combine?
Yeah, we want the
All right.
finance.
I move to receive 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We good? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? We're doing something. We're making this way too hard somehow. Okay, we have motion and support. Last chance. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried.
I gotta follow up, don't I? Move to receive 3, 8, and 9.
3, 8, and 9.
Support.
Your support? Okay. We can then open up, start with 3, parks.
Parks. We wanted to talk, there's some stuff in the newsletter, city manager's newsletter about it, but we had quite a bit of discussion. We had all but one person there at the parks meeting 2 weeks ago, which was really, really neat. And we had a lot of stuff to come up. There were some neat things that are happening with Little League and with them taking over some of our joys and concerns and all that kind of thing. But most of all, what we talked about, Curtis, jump in here if you want. Curtis indicated that there is an increasing push for a public restroom, the Pocket Park behind the community cabinet. He invited discussion regarding that request and other options that may be viable for the application to Gratiot County Parks and Rec millage funding. The group discussed merits and disadvantages of several ideas, including a dog park, the downtown public restroom, a wheelchair swing, a new pavilion for Holiday Park, and an updated walkway for the Wright Park. After a lot of discussion, we decided to recommend to the commission that the new assets to Gratiot County Parks and Recreation millage funding be a wheelchair accessible swing and an accessible walkway for Wright Park to Wright Park, okay? That those are the ones that we go for. The wheelchair accessible swing, there are, although we have a lot of handicapped accessible things there is no place for a simple wheelchair swing. They're not terribly expensive. They're fairly easy to maintain. It's basically just a platform that's supported on 4 corners that comes down to even with the ground, and you can roll a wheelchair on it and close the gates up, and then somebody can push the person on the wheelchair, and just a gentle swing. I think that's something that we could use. It goes along with fitting everything. And along with that, the walkway that we have talked about in Wright Avenue Park that goes from the parking lot to the handicap accessible swings and stuff. I think that's where we think the money is best used. The downtown bathroom, which is a really great idea over in the new Pocket Park. Unfortunately, the cost of any kind of a bathroom that's anywhere near not, what do I want to say, that you can't mess up, is upwards of $300,000 at this point. And then there comes the question of, do we have it just during the summer months, or do we heat it? And if we heat it, how do we pay for that? And what happens when somebody keeps trying to get in there at night to sleep in there and breaks the door down in order to do things like that? The cost of a regular bathroom that would be available is just out of the question, I think, at this time. Dog park is something we are going to continue to kick around. The place that we had in mind for the dog park is apparently now going to be used by the Little League. They're going to put an additional diamond back there, and they have contracted to bring in topsoil and stuff to fill in and take care of that. So that was one of the places we had for a dog park. Plus, it turns out that some of the stuff is more expensive than we thought. We had talked about the gated community kind of thing with the cards. That ain't cheap, so it turns out. We're just kind of tabling that one, but for right now, for the money that we could get out of the county parks, we would recommend that be those be the things that we would purchase this year.
Because at some point, the group would need to decide what our what our project is to submit. To go along with that, did put some extra information in the newsletter. Did meet with MEDC this last week to discuss projects ongoing, the master plan, because that's been kind of holding up our RRC certifications. But we do qualify right now that we could look at the patronacity program, which is that match $1 to dollar up to $50,000. And if we wanted to look at a bathroom, that might be the program to look at for a public use, public space, because you're gonna use for activities. And then Roger brought up, then the next decision would be before you decide to build, is it something, because we have activity in the wintertime, do you heat it? Because you'd have to have it heated if you want that bathroom to be usable in the wintertime. And that comes up because, believe you me, that's why we get complaints about bathroom not being available. As soon as we close in October, we have a beautiful day, people say, why'd you lock that bathroom? Well, because we had to winterize it and get it ready, because we can't take a chance that it gets too cold. But that might be a way to look at raising money for the bathroom downtown, because you would take, a public campaign to raise the money, so you raise half of it. And the number that Roger talked about there, if you're going to do one of the larger ones like we have done, that's where you're pushing it. But if you only want to do 1 stall or 2 stall type thing, it'd be a little bit less than that. But if you built it for a heating situation, then the costs do change. So that's something to consider. We don't have to make any decisions tonight, but the Parks Board, just to put that out there, what their recommendation was to look at that handicap accessibility in Wright Park, and then possibly, if that didn't work out, the pavilion in Holiday Park. And and the dog park discussion would be ongoing, so.
Sounds good.
That's it?
Okay. And then on the Little League side of things that Roger mentioned, the Little League would like to submit an application into the Consumers Energy Prosperity Program, but they can't do it on their own because they're not a 501c3. We'd have to be the sponsor of that application. So if the commission is okay with that, we'll work with the Little League on preparing that, and we'll have to most likely bring something back to this board to approve because it would be underneath the city's name. But if you're okay with that, we'll proceed and work with them on that, on the behalf.
Yeah, they've been a great group.
Yeah, unbelievable, the amount of stuff that they have done and are planning to do. And go for it.
Absolutely. So we have Curtis, okay.
This is in your packet, the investment report. Chris just wanted to run a couple things by the commission along with the report.
Yeah, I'll be quick. It's not a big report. But I did want to talk about, we got our, as we're wrapping up our previous fiscal year, I wanted to talk about investments briefly with everyone. For total interest income for the year, so this is since 2011, so this is over our last 15 years, just to show just where interest rates have been these last couple of years. Absolutely major spikes the last 2 years. I actually went back to 2000, and I think I went back to 2002 because that's as far back as I could go, and the last 3 years are the 3 highest years since then. So it has been a very good interest rate market. We've known that, so we've been very aggressive with it to try to get as much interest income as we could possibly get. And yeah, it's been a very good year to be an investor, not a very good year to be a borrower. But the investments have been very, very strong, and this has really helped us with our budgets, and especially our general fund budget. Again, this is money that we've been able to put into the general fund, just the general fund for interest income the last couple of years. So this has really helped us with our, being able to afford our cost of living adjustments, to be able to afford some of the increased costs and some of the capital projects and stuff. And this is kind of a note to say this is great, but also if you look at historical trends, to a cautionary tale of we can't really rely on these funds, because even though it's been great the last couple of years, if you look historically, this has been an outlier and not something that we expect to be a continuous trend for. So our investment portfolio, just real briefly, because I know we talked about this a couple years ago and then really haven't touched on it too much since. We basically have 5 major categories. So basically cash and cash equivalents, our local government investment pool, which is Michigan Class, and then CDs, CDARS, and U.S. Treasuries. If you remember back a couple years ago, we had this conversation and we were heavily invested in Michigan Class at that point. We kind of talked as a group, and the board's recommendation at that point was that we should look at diversifying a little bit more, not being as reliant on Michigan Class. So as you can see, Michigan Class is still our leader, but we are much more spread out. And at that time too, 2 years ago, we didn't have any U.S. Treasuries that we were directly invested with. So we've added that to our portfolio as well to give us another investment vehicle that gets us very good interest as well. And as far as safety goes, I mean, a U.S. Treasury has historically been pretty much the safest investment that you can do. Kind of one of those things, if that ever failed, we've got bigger problems kind of things. So that's definitely one of the benefits with the U.S. Treasuries. As far as interest goes, it's actually kind of interesting. They've all been pretty consistent. The local government investment pools, the Michigan Class does perform the highest, or has been performing the highest the last couple of years, but as you can see, it's not really as much of an increase. When we talked about this 2 years ago, Michigan Class was pretty much doubling what we could get in CDs. Now it's really CDs, Treasuries, Michigan Class, everything is fairly comparable. So we are really getting interest on pretty much everything in that we're investing at. Last year, we were in that 4%. We're already seeing this year with the renewals today, so it was 3.8. Michigan Class is down over 10.1% since we did this. So rates are still tend to be trending lower. People hedging against rate cuts and not sure what the market's going to do, but for last year, we were pretty consistently in that low to mid 4 range for the year, which is what really drove that investment income. So this is kind of the big one that I really wanted to talk about, and this is our investment maturity schedule. So if you can tell here, basically $20 million of our investments are either between 0 and 90 or 90 to 180 days as far as maturity levels go. So we are very heavily liquid and very short term. Now part of this is because we can only go out 2 years, so there's not as much, it limits what we can do. And then even in that 1 to 2 year range over the last year, it has been not very as advantageous to go out longer now that we're starting to see potential more rate cuts and what potentially could be coming in the future. Going out, a lot of portfolios are going out further and further, just because if you can lock in a CD for a couple of years right now at 3.75%, I think was the last quote I got for a 2-year CD. If you can lock that in, the worst thing that happens is the rates don't cut, and you could have gotten 4%, but if the rates cut 2% over the next couple of years, which is what they're kind of predicting, you're just hedging your bets by going out a little bit longer. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up to say that we are extremely liquid right now. That's always historically kind of been where the city's been. We've always been pretty high in that 0 to 90 day range. So, and it's a good thing to have a lot of liquidity, but we are probably way more liquid than we need to be. And then with the fears or the thoughts, and nobody knows what's actually going to happen, but pretty much everyone that I've talked to, everyone that's making predictions is saying that we're probably looking at least 1 to 2 cuts yet this year in the Fed rate, and then another couple cuts next year. They keep telling us that their target is to get it down to between 2 and 3% eventually. So that would be another at least 4 cuts between now and the end of next year. Again, I think being able to go out longer and just having a portfolio that's a little less liquid and a little more wrapped up in the long term will hedge against that a little bit, and able to keep, as the interest rates falls, we'll be able to kind of soften that blow a little bit more, because our cash in our local investment pools, basically as soon as the rates cut, those get instantly affected, to where if you can lock in some of those longer term rates, you can kind of smooth that out a little bit more. So I continue to have the opinion that our investment policy is too restrictive when it comes to maturity years. The majority of the maturity lengths of the investment portfolios that I see is 5 years. Even if we're not comfortable with 5, even just being able to go out with 3 instead of 2 would make a big difference in being what we can do and being able to hedge against investments. So I still urge you to consider making that change at some point to give us just a little bit more flexibility and help us protect, especially in a falling rate market. So, but otherwise, it's been a great time to be an investor. We've gotten a lot of rates without having to do a whole lot of work for it. It's been good, but we kind of all know that it's not staying. So we're taking it while we can, but also being conscious of how do we make sure for the next couple budget cycles that we're getting the most that we can still and not seeing too drastic, too fast falls that will end up impacting our budget. So that's all I have. If there's any questions.
Who has the first question?
How did we determine the 2-year that was too restrictive? Is that in our?
That's in our personal investment policy. Yeah, it actually used to be a year. We changed that 2 years ago to at least go to 2 years, which has been way better than 1. But like I said, across the state, the kind of the standard is 5. I mean, everyone does something a little bit different, but the standard is usually 5. And even if I could do 5, probably wouldn't do a lot of 5 because I don't like. That seems like even a lot to me, but I think 3 would at least be able, and again, it's not like we're gonna turn around tomorrow and put 80% of our portfolio into 3 years. It just gives us that option to, even if we put, 10%, 15%, 20% of it a little bit longer, especially if we can lock in good rates right now, which right now we can. I'd rather lock in at, 3.75 and say, man, could have gotten a little bit more than be sitting here next year and we're doing a budget where we're only getting 2%. So that's kind of my theory on that.
And was there a reasoning behind that? Because we weren't real confident with how things were?
That was in place before.
We even started?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's been a long-standing policy, and honestly, it's served us very well over the last decade because short-term rates, with the inverted yield curve, the short-term rates have been where their high rates are, which is, historically over the longer period is not true. Typically, the 5 to 10 years should be a higher rate than an overnight rate or a 1-year rate. Personally, I have no problem going out a little longer and changing our investment policy. I would like to see, if you want to come back with a recommendation, it'd be nice to have some percentages, not to exceed so much in every bucket, so that I don't like taking interest rate bets, but I don't mind, hedging your risk, which is what this does. So I'm very comfortable doing that as long as we don't, I'd rather set limits on buckets rather than, the time frame buckets rather than just hard and fast. I don't think you want to do a lot of it, but just a little bit.
Just
a smoother operation over time.
Yep.
And also, your cash flow projections, I'm sure you run those.
Yep.
If you could include something like that, we expect to need this cash in, $1 million in 1 year or $2 million, whatever it is, and make sure the cash is ready when it's needed. Would be the other concern of mine. But other than that, I think your staff has done, you and your team have done a good job of obviously managing it and bringing us into the right rate environment, so.
I agree with that.
It's been a good time.
It's good to be lucky too, isn't it?
Timing is a lot of this.
But on the other hand, you made the comment that it's not a good time to be a borrower, but historically, over a 40-year time horizon,
in comparison to the last couple
rates
of
are
years.
still pretty low,
Right.
I remember, unfortunately, I'm old enough, I remember interest rates at 20%, to borrow. So it does happen, and it could happen again, we don't know. That's why we don't like to take bets, but yeah, good. Thank you for the report, appreciate it.
Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, you're next.
Yep, I'll jump in, and we've already talked about the park capital funding. State Street Plaza, we were talking to a few people internal, from an internal discussions about purchasing the building. Those haven't come to fruition, so I'd like to go out for requests for proposals from area realtors to get it put on the market. So what I'd like to do is put that out and then bring those proposals back to this board to review and to adopt one of them to be a realtor for the project or the building, if that's okay with everybody. Okay, very good.
Sounds good.
And also in the meantime, as we do all that, I've had an organization, a church organization, reach out about renting it in a short-term period. So if if that's okay with you too, we can do a short-term lease with them to keep, them paying for the utilities and get a little bit of rent in, and that'll help keep things fresh down there at least.
Absolutely.
Did we lose the location?
Centuria, nope, MSU Extension's still there.
They're still there,
Yep.
okay.
And the gym is still there. Centuria moved out,
So that's
5 months ago.
that's the unit we lost.
Yep. But it's always better to have some folks in there running heat and running water and then seeing utilities.
Watching if it's, just to have eyes on things is helpful.
Yep, so if that's okay, I'll look at trying to get that at least to you guys at the next meeting in August here. And just, for Dave's sake there's a few projects that are coming to fruition. Here, Charles Avenue is open, and we were writing this, that was, almost open, but it is completely open now. The only thing left on Charles Avenue is to finish the boardwalk for a multi-use path. We're hoping that gets done here before the end of August, so we can close that grant out with the state of Michigan. Rosedale is moving right along, waiting on Tess to come back for the water lines, and then they can start hooking in the homes to the new water line, and then they'll start on the storm drains. Good news on the Pine Avenue front. Dave told me today, looks like we're gonna get our final coat down on Thursday. No word technically on the specifics on striping yet, correct? Okay, yeah, so we don't know when we're gonna do striping, but if we can if the signs are up and we can open the street, so the real thing is having the signs up from a legal standpoint. But looks like we're gonna maybe make this before school starts.
Wow.
So,
Hey,
That's quite a turnaround.
so,
wow.
but don't.
They've been working so many hours.
Yeah.
They are there so late. I mean, on Saturdays, like I think it was last Saturday, I went through at like 7:30, and they were still working. I could see them before I turned on Richmond that they were still down there. It's
So,
late.
Yep, fingers crossed, it's in the right direction, we're optimistic. but-
Striping is nice, but are we gonna get paw prints?
Well, eventually.
At some point, we'll let the school do something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah. But,
I just think that's important.
but we,
School does that. so-
No, you don't do that.
but, nope, it's, as long as we get the signs up, we can open that up at least if we don't have the striping, right? And we can do that when school's in session with the striping, so.
Be some happy people.
Very happy, us too, I believe, us too. Then the water tower control building, we hope that gets going here in the next week or two, which was funded through our DWSRF, which came through the federal funding. We hope that gets going very soon. And then again, this weekend, it is here, Alamo Live, and the visit from Owasso with the training. As of this last week, they have 250 people signed up for the training coming in.
I understand it will be a diesel, though.
It will be a diesel, yes. The 1225 is not available.
Not up.
So, but that's a good number of people to come into town. The event map and just went out on Facebook, so that's available to everybody, all the businesses that are open, restaurants, retail, all that's available. So should be.
Do we know what time the train's supposed to be here?
They should be arriving about 1:30.
Okay.
And so we've been telling folks downtown, anticipate the passengers be kind of milling around by 2 o'clock, by the time they debark and make their way up to downtown.
Okay.
And then we just let folks know next the following week, that following Thursday is the US 27 car show. Then the Allen College does their gateway with the freshmen to visit the downtown. And then the Chamber and the Young Professionals, the Crash and Brews and Bites, the second, now annual. And I think we're up to 12 vendors, did you say?
15 of them.
15 vendors.
Yeah.
So that is growing, so that is good news as well, so.
Thank you.
Alamo Live.
Okay, who has the first question for Eric? Well, I can't resist. So just as you were talking about the rental property downtown, it kind of jogged my memory. I was out the other day, we were just looking at things, and I believe we still own what used to be the Hicks Company building out there on Jerome,
Yes.
and we leased that out.
Yes.
It's looking pretty shabby. What would it take to put a coat of paint on that? And
We can look at that.
I mean, it's just-
Yeah, we can look at that, but
if
long
we're trying
term.
to sell the property, yeah, I get it, but,
But no, we can take a look at what it costs.
and then the other thing that, as I was going down that road, I think there's a lot of equipment that is stored there. Is it those big green machines? Wasn't that supposed to be on, like a gravel pavement?
They need to be on some kind of hard surface, yep.
I'm not
That's
sure.
Maverick you're talking about.
Maverick, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought, but I didn't want to name the name without being 100%.
No, that was,
I
we
didn't
talked
bring any
about
notes with me
that.
or pictures, so.
No, we talked about that in Plan Commission.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that,
I will,
I mean, that was supposed to be some
Investigate.
time ago, and I think we've been lenient.
I will investigate that. Yeah. But
I mean, if we're gonna make our landowners, or our homeowners, put a pad under their camper and their whatever extra vehicle, I think we should do the same for our industrial friends.
no, I'll get with Dave and we'll talk about a little bit
It was
with
conditioned, I think.
Yeah, yeah, but there was the Plan Commission did put that as a condition of
Yeah.
getting that taken care of, yes.
So, thank you. Okay, so with that, does anybody have any final questions? If not, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried, and we received the final reports. Moving down to appropriations. Any interest in paying bills?
Move to pay the appropriations.
Support.
We have a motion supported. Any questions about the bills? No questions. All those in favor of paying, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. Thank you. Commissioner comments. Roxanne, you want to lead off tonight?
None tonight.
None tonight. Okay, Roger, you okay?
Air quality doesn't help.
Yeah, no, it's
Canadian wildfires, right?
Yeah, it's better. No, nothing tonight, I don't think. Thank you.
Okay. Sonia?
None. Okay.
Roxanne?
Michelle.
Or Michelle, I'm sorry.
No.
I looked right at you too. My apologies.
That's okay.
I'm good. Drew, nothing?
Whoa.
No, it's gonna be quiet. Sarah? No? All right. Okay. Well, just, you mentioned Elmo Live, that's great, gonna be a great event, a lot going on. The Red Hacker that the Youth for Christ is putting on is gonna be I think it looks like a big tournament. And then the other end of town is gonna be a big cornhole tournament with all kinds of activities in between, so I'm not sure if they're still looking for volunteers. Have you heard anything lately?
We are
they
looking for
still
volunteers. I have volunteers I need for the late shift for the jumpers. I could use some folks to man the beverage area. What else? That's really it. I could use like 6 or 8 people to help with those items.
I believe you can register online.
That can be registered online, yes.
Okay. So the city website has the links, right?
It's on our Facebook posts.
Facebook post, okay.
Yeah, yep.
All right.
Because that, Brittany helped us out with that.
Yes.
from United Way. Yes.
Okay. With that, we'll entertain, or we'll welcome members of the public that would like to address the commission. So Les, if you'd like to go to the podium, state your name and address and share your thoughts.
I had nothing, thank you.
Gosh, anybody else?
That's 0 for 3.
I don't think anybody else is going to come forward, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
A motion to support. Any comments or questions? Last chance. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Stay dry.